in the pantheon of Golden Age film stars, where names like John Holmes, Kay Parker, and Ginger Lynn loom large. There's one name whispered with a mixture of reverence and grin-inducing nostalgia: little O Annie. A force of nature on screen and an enigma off it, little O Annie, born Andrea Parducci, burst onto the mature film scene in the early 1980s with a mouthful of talent and a singular focus to redefine the art of what she was known for in the cinematic domain. And redefine it she did. She wasn't just an actress. She was a specialist, a cult icon, and arguably the most dedicated performer of her kind during this special time, a fact still acknowledged by fans and industry insiders even today. Before we dig further into the world of 1980s mature cinema and her place within it, here's a detail that gives Annie's story an added twist of Americana. She has repeatedly been reported as the granddaughter of the founders of the Parducci Wine Corporation, one of California's most iconic family-run vineyards. From wine royalty to genre film royalty, if only it were true, it would make Annie's story one of the most unexpected arcs in the history of the industry. But it is not. She is not connected to the family at all, yet that misinformation still exists in abundance online. In fact, little is known about her early life. Parducci was born on January 13, 1960, in Brooklyn, New York, and when she was young, her family relocated to California, where she attended Pacific Palisades High School and graduated in 1977. The transformation into Annie happened after she acted in a few loops in the late 70s. These drew attention from industry directors who immediately recognized her acting ability, which led to her official feature screen debut in the entertaining X-Boat in 1980. At just 20 years old, she landed a small part as one of the passengers in what is a comedic adventure centered on an all-girl cruise ship where two stowaways crash the proceedings along with a pirate hijacking. Needless to say, plenty of joyous genre action takes place. Another movie that sought to cash in on the popularity of late 70s mainstream bawdy comedies, Annie stood out from the very start due to her innate talent in front of the camera. In a genre all too often populated by jaded expressions and perfunctory acting, her on-screen presence was different, alive, dedicated, and almost mythic in its purpose. Annie didn't just show up for a paycheck. She arrived on set with a sense of tangible purpose. Directors and cinematographers of the era capitalized on this too. Her scenes were very often shot at a pace that allowed the action to unfurl at a more sedate pace. The narrative approach, along with editing and camera angles, were all designed so that her acting ability became front and center, slowly reveling in the overall beauty of it all. By the time Passion Pit hit the shelves in 1983, Annie had cemented herself as one of the major stars of the late Golden Age. In her own words, on her classmates' profile, "I became a name star and was able to bank a lot of money." Starring alongside John Holmes in a terrifically filmed office dream sequence, Passion Pit once again demonstrates the preferred aesthetic when it came to her scenes: a slow build, long takes, and lingering camera work. Tracy Lords and Stacey Donovan are also on top form in this one, and I plan on doing a full film review sometime soon. In 1984's Inside Little Annie, she received top billing. This film, along with others that saw her as the marquee attraction, were created to showcase Annie's on-screen prowess. In many ways, she turned her craft into a pseudo form of performance art. Ultimately, the camera, her co-stars, and her audience loved her, and she knew it. During this period, she also had a sideline in short productions that explored themes of corporal punishment, with her taking on roles on both sides of the power dynamic. Not nearly as popular as her more well-known movies, They remain an interesting example of a niche she pursued that most fans are completely unaware of. By 1987, the industry was giving way to the mass production era of cheaper VHS productions and faster turnarounds. But Annie still had some A-grade performances left for this stage of her career. Her final leading title, Annie Takes Manhattan, was a fitting tribute to an actress of her stature. Filmed in New York, albeit mostly from the inside of bars and apartments, Annie gives a typically great performance alongside her co-stars, Carol Cross and Tyja Ray. It feels very made for VHS and lacks the budget of her earlier movies, yet the camera still captures an actress in full command of her talents. Within a few years of its release and a handful of compilations and small roles, Annie vanished from the industry altogether. No fanfare, no grand goodbye. Just a sudden, silent retirement, leaving behind a legacy of over 36 films, each stamped with her unmistakable mark. A little research does uncover what she went on to pursue, however. Again, her self-published Classmates profile from 2017 lends a hand here. After retiring from filmmaking, she married musician Buck Owens, and together they moved to Goleta near Santa Barbara. The marriage ended in divorce, and she went on to marry Bob Densmore, moved to Marin County, and became a music teacher in the Bolinas School District. She has contemplated a comeback in the mature category if the paycheck is appropriate. Clearly that has not happened as yet, but we all live in hope. Whether she ever appears on screen again or not, one thing is for certain: little O Annie has more than cemented her position as a legend of the industry. She succeeded in doing something very few stars have managed. She owned her niche so completely that her name became synonymous with it. In a time before online fan websites and custom content, Annie's commitment to her area of the industry felt revolutionary. She wasn't trying to be a romantic lead or play out convoluted plots. She had a singular mission in her every role, and for that, she will always be remembered. Okay, I have a little question for my regular viewers, well, those that have made it to the very end of the video. I do really appreciate that, so thank you. Anyway, along with film reviews and more of the stars I haven't covered yet, I am actually contemplating redoing some of my earliest videos of the big-name stars. Not all by any stretch, but some like Secker, where it's only 3-odd minutes long, and Annette Haven, less than 2 minutes. I mean, that's a travesty. It really bugs me that I didn't cover them properly. There is definitely scope there for me to do a much better job of it now that I've been doing this for a lot longer. Would you watch if I did that? Let me know in the comments. There is so much more I could cover. Anyway, until the next one, thanks for watching, everyone.